Admittedly, this convo is a blur for me. I was so overwhelmed and I barely remember what was said. I will probably dip out for this part, but have a good stream, Star. Take care. No problem, Tipster. Star, Xylee was talking about your coverage of Shanny today. Oh, interesting. What was she saying? I would be interested to know.
I didn't give a shit. But I mean, like, your own crew, that's what I don't get. Like, do you remember me sticking up for you for the whole thing that started this whole thing? Like, that's another thing I really want to ask you.
How crazy the whale is and how CPS took the kids. I wasn't even aware that Xylee was even following my coverage of that. I'm curious what your take on this convo is going to be like, because I accidentally derailed. Abby Blackbird's stream with my opinion. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll see.
We came up to the lolly stuff, all right? You give it. Me and Nick, the biggest bastards on the planet. Total man, right wing. And what happened when I was in Gran Canaria? I'm worried about Bowblax. I'm worried about the transition. I'm worried about his well-being.
That, you know, and that's, I think, a valid thing to be upset about, right? What I will say is that, like, there are people in commentary who, okay, maybe they're not as progressive as you would want them to be, right? But they still genuinely care about their friends, they regardless of political opinion. And, you know, Nicholas Deorio himself is, like, pretty liberal, you know? But, you know, not everybody in commentary is kind of like a mix of different political opinions, right? But there is, like, a decent criticism that, like, okay, like, certain groups of people are so quick to call us just for our association with each other, and it makes no sense because commentary has tons of trans audience members, tons of LGBTQ audience members, and they don't get treated different, you know? I think it's just commentary is a little bit more edgy, but yeah, I don't know.
If you would have told us about your, we would have respected that too. I guarantee about the trans.
Thinking that was streams.
Stuck up for you. I'm not trying to fake this, but I loved I loved it. And then I sucked up my pride.
Let me see if the actual, oh, here it is. Tipster face off, reveals shock. Okay, this one.
So I know you came here to watch me sort of challenge Tipster and everything, and I do, and I think I get right to it. But if you came here to see me go after him on Vosh, Keffels, or what they might call evil art, let's put it that way, you came to the wrong place. Number one, I'm not prepped for it. Number two, I hate bread too. Number three was my birthday streams. Number four, I got bigger issues with him. And you know what? I'm going to talk about his character and his actions, the way he's treated his friends and the way he treated me personally, which is bad enough as it is. And, you know, I'm like a big believer. You can think whatever you want, including something that inaction is criminal. I'm not saying he believes anything that inaction is criminal. I'm not saying that, I'm making no accusations, but I do stand by the principle, you can think what you like. All right. I might not have anything to do with you. I might say you're an idiot. I might say you're a bad person, but you could think it. So, and not to mention the fact I wasn't really on, you know, Tipster said this and that's, oh my God. And he said a lot of dumb stuff. I do remember that. And that's another problem. I don't remember everything. So I'm no position, but I do remember what he did to me. I do remember what he did to others. And that's what we're here for. So you're expecting some kind of like a bread tube, like political challenge. You're not going to get it. I didn't do it. I'm not interested in it. It's that kind of essay stuff. And
that's fair enough, you know.
Art stuff.
I think a lot of this was just personal, interpersonal stuff, you know? Like the falling out was interpersonal.
It's never been interesting to me. YouTubers are interesting to me, like Vosh and Couples, but I don't even remember all the ins and outs. I was totally not prepped for it. There is one thing, however, that I wish I pushed back on. He makes a comment about Augie being all like Jason. When I challenged him, I thought he kind of shoehorned us all in there. I did not push back on that like I should have or like I would have liked to. I know Augie's made some nutty stuff. I don't remember them all, but if I remember correctly, Augie made a lot of crazy comments when he was 16. I've known Augie since he was 15 or 16 years old. And I also know when you're a teenager, you think you know it all and nobody can tell you different. He showed me that in open folders. And a lot of the more extreme positions you might have kind of just go away with living everyday life, paying your taxes, paying your rent, getting things done, you're just not as binary on issues. You know, there's movement there. I think Augie is a much different man than the boy I knew. And if he has made any more extreme statements that would mirror the alt-right, I'm not even familiar with him. So, and I don't think he has. I think Augie is. I wouldn't call him a good liberal or anything. I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's not voting for Kamala. But I don't. If he is an extremist, I don't know it. If he was an extremist, I wouldn't take it seriously. Same thing goes for Turkey Tom. If you're extremist when you're a teenager, I'm sorry. I mean, I've known these guys since they're kids. They're adults now. I'm not holding them to it.
I think that's a fair enough point. There are a lot of people who believe really stupid shit as kids.
So I think I should have pushed back on Tipster. Last thing, I hate disclaimers. Disclaimers suck. I hate them because I think a lot of times they're designed to kind of shut people up, or in most YouTubers' cases, if this video results in some kind of bandwagoning or flame war or maybe even a harassment campaign, it's not my fault. I'm just criticizing. All right, do what you want, say what you want, but be a human being about it. Say it, get out. Do what I do. Don't turn it into an MOS like we say in the Army. An MOS is a job. What job you signed up for? Don't do what Bowblax did. All right, and don't be a part of people that are doing that kind of brigading. I've never been a brigade guy. As long as I've seen brigades, I've laughed at them from the people that I don't like, and a lot of times the people that get brigaded ask for it, they double, triple, quadruple down. But I've never been for them. Goofing a couple days maybe, but when it starts to turn to weeks to months, I'm not for that, and I am not doing. But if you have something to say it. I'm not telling you to shut up because I think disclaimers are two-ended. It's CYA and shut up. I'm not telling you to shut up. Say what you want. Speak out. If you come to a conclusion on this. Last thing. Well, that was the last thing. That's it. That's it. Here's the video. Just watch it. Let me know.
What I'll say is I don't know that. Okay, so Keldosh says, my deal with Tommy Sear is he gets weirdly focused on how Tipster flopped by moving left. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what Tommy's saying, but sometimes friendships end, people change, and things end due to natural changes and not like some weird grift or conspiracy thing. Yeah, so for the most part, I think Tommy is a genuine guy. And I think he speaks from his heart, right? Does that mean that I think he's right about everything he speaks from his heart? No, I'm one thing I will say is I do disagree with Tommy's assessment here that he thinks that Tipster changed his views radically, right? People can be pretty liberal-minded or progressive-minded and still be edgy and still enjoy edgy content. And they can decide that they no longer enjoy that content, right? So, yeah, that's my take on that.
Oh, that's good. Happy birthday, man.
Oh, thank you. I do appreciate the donation, but this is not going to be an easy call for you. I'm going to tell you right now.
No, that's fine. I'm here to take my lumps. I'm here to take my lumps.
Well, here's the thing, Tips. And I'll get into the deeper stuff later. I don't understand. I get being worn, and I think this is what happened to you. I get being worn down by the commentary community. I get being worn down by the and all that other. I get that, you're trying to explain some nuance and something you believe, and then you get turned into and stuff like that. By the way, I was never one of those guys. I get the frustration. What I don't get, and you got a second chance after you over me, you the rest of those guys over. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand that.
No, honestly, Nick kind of pointed that out on Twitter. I think it was yesterday. And I said something along the lines of, I don't regret leaving the community. It was just time for me to move on to.
I don't. First of all, let me correct you. I'm going to correct you. You never left. You never left the community. You left your crew. The community you're still in. You're still a commentator. That's the truth. Yeah, you are.
I think so it's commentary as a genre that he still does commentary as a genre, but he's not part of the same commentary community, I guess. I don't know. He's more part of like post BreadTube, I feel. That's how I would view it, maybe.
That's the truth.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. But
you're still doing drama. You're still talking about the trending topics. You might be doing gaming and whatever the fuck you do. And I've always said your retro stuff is top notch.
This is not Bowblax. This is Tipster talking to Tommy C.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I liked you when I met you in 2016. But you never really left. Nobody leaves this. You left your crew. That's what bothered me. And it was my crew. You did me dirty, and then you did them dirty. I don't understand that. And I forgave you.
Yeah, well, like I was going to say is what I was telling Nick in a response on Twitter was something along the lines of I don't regret leaving, but I regret the way I left, because like I would have liked to leave where we were still on good terms or whatever, but I obviously like dropped the ball on that like tremendously.
You tried to
So, like,
connect them to the alt-right. How's that fucking possible? You're Hispanic. They took you in despite me telling them not to. I like you. They literally took you in. Augie, Bowblax. Now I get that. Augie, Bowblax, like everybody, they took you in. The only reason, I've been meaning to say this to you for years. You contacted me in 2016, right before Baited, and we connected over a criticism of me working with Keemstar, right? Did I throw you away? Yeah. Did I block you? Did I tell you to off? No, I was like, all right, let's hear this. Let's check out your content. You know, we both got the retro gaming thing in common. And then you eventually...
Did he slam the bread tube in the car door? No. I don't even know that bread tube necessarily exists as it used to. I call like the remnants of it kind of like post bread tube, right? And there's like some overlap with that and like commentary also. I feel it's all merging together, really. So
we're able to get a platform. You got 100,000. I never got that. Like basically through my connections and me saying how cool you are. You know that, right? I mean, I'm not saying you didn't do it yourself. I'm not saying you did, but like all that is because you were upset with me going to Baited, even though it was nobody, I had nothing going on. I needed money, the whole nine. That's where it started.
Oh, no. To be clear, like I never had a problem with you going to Baited. Like if anything, I was like, yo, like get your bag. My thing was just like at the time I wasn't like the biggest
Keemstar fan. Yeah.
So my thing was just like, just be careful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're talking specifically.
All right. In fairness, yes. That was your position right there. That was your position.
Do what you
but
gotta
it started off. But the reason we got into DMs is because you were critical, and then when we talked, it was like, yeah, look, get your bag. I get it. And I'm like, look, I think I remember something to the effect that I will stand up to him when I see fit. But I mean, I'm sure, that's pretty much what it was. And then, you know, the whole Ian Miles Chung thing happened, and you took full and fucking advantage of that. Everybody embraced you. Augie embraced you. Bowblax embraced you. Nick embraced you. And then 5 years later, you're trying to trap them into some anti-trans. I mean, what the dude? I don't get that. Why? What did they do to you? You like me, like my whole thing is, right? Tips. Like I didn't, if you notice, I didn't jump on the train. Like I don't know why you blocked me, because I wasn't I didn't do it to you on Twitter. My whole thing was they got what they deserved because you showed your true colors 5 years ago. And I just accepted it, and you've never apologized. I know you apologized to Nick, and you said you regretted what happened with the whole Ian Miles Chung thing, and because like, you know, it's one thing liking tweets about my.
Tommy Seep said basically like, look, like I hooked you up with so many connections, you got so many subs, you know, a whole bunch of us like hooked you up with a whole bunch of connections, and then when we all fell out, you called us like alt-right, and you know that was up or whatever.
Prior to the Ian Miles Chung incident happening, publicly telling everybody you were distancing yourself from me, right? Even though I didn't do anything other than go against Medicare. So that's a little tough to believe.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't recall that.
You were sucking their ass. You were riding high. And that turned into a relationship with Augie, which turned into 100,000 subs in a plaque. I was never anything but nice to you. And after you did me dirty and I figured out a way to survive it, I forgave you, even though you never came to me balls to bones and said, I am sorry. So why should I believe you that, like, you do to me on this whole Keffel thing? You didn't do a thing to me. It was Augie, Bowblax, and Tipster you did it to, right? Bowblax, even though he's right, he still didn't deserve that at the time. So why should I believe you now? And I'm saying that honestly, not like trying to like get you. I'm like, why should you believe that now?
No, I mean, like, it's the same thing like I told like Nick or whatever. Like, I own up the fact that like I definitely made mistakes over the course of the past like year and a half.
You sound like Bowblax.
But like I don't expect.
You sound like you realize you sound like Bowblax right now, right? On Augie's show the other day.
What do you mean?
You started to say something funny?
Because we saw Bowblax and he was just like, yeah, you're right, I'm wrong, and what have you. He's not
I don't know. I don't think he sounds like Bowblax here, honestly. I think that he's at least taking more accountability for his actions than Bowblax did. So.
He isn't.
But the difference between like Bowblax is I feel like Bowblax was just trying to find some way to save his own ass. And
I feel like that's you, except growing
in this community.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure there's some truth in that. But I feel like that's like you, except you were trying to get into the community. What's the difference?
What do you mean?
Well, I feel like you f***ed me over to get in good with any community that would take you in, and it just happened to be mine. Well, ironic. And I was never nice to you. You made a public tweet distancing yourself from me. You have never apologized.
Okay, here's the thing. We had to also take into account, like, I don't know that Tommy C is right about all of his assessments here, but I think it's important to take into account that Tommy C is pretty emotional, right? He still has emotions from when he felt that Tipster, backstabbed him. And so, yeah, his perception is going to be skewed on this, right? But, he's somebody who speaks from the heart. And speaking from the heart, he's just explaining his perspective, right? So. And
I decided to forgive you. And then 5 years later, you're basically saying Nick, Augie, and even Bowblax for that matter, are adjacent to all right people. We worked with you. You know how careful we were. You know how we were like racist assholes.
This is also very true, okay? One thing I have to say is this is also very true about how careful commentary people are around certain things. They're very careful. I remember when the Ava Chris Tyson stuff was coming out, right? And people were criticizing Ava Chris Tyson. One of the people who made a video was this, I forgot his name, Prism, I think was his name. And I was in one of these commentary group chats, and basically everybody in the chat is like, this guy's video is so garbage. One, a lot of it is just like transphobia. This dude is just transphobic. He wants to be like Project Veritas. Like, this dude has done such terrible coverage of this. Like, there are valid criticisms to have of Ava Chris Tyson, but this dude's video was garbage. And it's just transphobia. It's just what it is, And they were like talking about how can we like look into this without giving attention to like the transphobic parts, right? Or they were trying to figure that out, like how to be careful about that, which like a lot of people don't expect it from commentary because there are a lot of edgy jokes from the commentary community, but they are actually very careful with the way that they handle things. I mean, you can see it even with the DMs between Bowblax and Nicholas Deorio, right? Nick didn't like ridicule Bowblax for his gender identity. He didn't ridicule Bowblax for having like a mental thing. It became an issue when Bowblax lied publicly about what was going on. And it became an issue when he started to see inconsistencies and he was trying to use like a mental health diagnosis that didn't happen to explain why he was being unhinged. And then he tried to paint it as if like Nick didn't care about his gender identity, when Nick was like, if anything, he was trying to be very supportive of his identity. And, when Bowblax is talking and rambling about how he's making these videos, these video diaries, Nick was like, yeah, sure, send it to me if you want to send it to me, Sometimes you can be extremely careful to not emphasize the bad behavior, not the fact that someone's trans and still get called transphobic, i.e. Mudahar versus Keffels. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, Mudahar is somebody who I heard speak about the trans community, and he actually was pretty well informed about the trans community. He was pretty well informed about how like scarce like money is, right? How so many trans people are living like in like destitute poverty, and why it was such a big deal that Keffels may have scammed people, because this is a community that was giving money to her. That is already a community full of like at-risk individuals who were more likely to be economically like destitute, And so I do have to say, like, say what you want about the commentary community. Say that it's toxic. You can say that they all like, they all cannibalize each other, whatever, right? One thing I have to say that I have seen time and time again is that they are very careful around certain topics, so.
You knew that about us. You were in. And I think what happened to you
He was incredibly nuanced in his video, and it was glossed over because the thumbnail was unflattering. Made by a creator whose drawings Keffels herself even used in videos. Yeah.
Is you got sick of getting optics checked, just like Bowblax.
When I heard Mudahar talk about that, I was like, okay, this guy knows, like, he's done some research into this. This isn't like a guy going after somebody just to go after them. Like, he's identified why it's bad, you know?
And you started to resent the people that were helping you. That's what I think. And you can respond now.
I mean, I don't know if maybe I'm misremembering something, but I don't know if I ever said all you guys were alt-right adjacent. I know that I was asked that question.
You better hope that's not the case, because I don't got the shit in front of me, but they'll find it.
I know that I was asked that question specifically about Augie, and I said yes because of some of the people he associated with. But I don't think I ever said that about
not Nick.
Well,
okay, I can't get you because I don't remember. I don't know, but I felt like it was a community thing. I didn't feel like it was just like, oh.
Hi, Nick. Today we are watching Tipster and Tommy have a conversation.
You're Nick or what have you.
Because I do remember on, what was it? It was the Michael Alberto stream. I was specifically asked that by Aiden about whether I thought that about Augie. And I said, I think that he's alt-right adjacent because some of the people he engages with. But I don't think I ever said that, like, definitely not Nick, for example. Yeah. I don't have any reason to believe that.
Nick used to be right-wing and now he's left. I mean, you know that. You knew that at the time. That's half the reason we got in a fight, because we couldn't put our politics and act like grown-ups. Both of us, by the way, not just me, not just him. I don't know, man. Like, my whole thing with the recent Capitol thing, I don't really give a what your sexuality is. I don't give a who you support. I don't care if you're a leftist. I really don't. I don't, right? But it's just, it felt like you were trying to get us through her because she was riding high. Actually, you kind of got her on the dip, to be honest with you. And, you know, as far as like trans stuff, even Augie like moved more towards the center as time went on. I just feel like you were trying to tie us up with somebody.
Yeah, I mean, even in Augie's chat, some of the most prominent community members are trans. So it's like, even if the commentator themselves is more right-wing or right-leaning, you've still got community members who are trans. It's pretty diverse, you know?
I hate trans people. I just don't want to say the pronouns. I don't want to be told what to do. And I think they feel the same way. Probably less Nick than any of them. And I think Nick targeted you 4 years for a reason because you broke his heart. And he's not going to say that, but I will. You broke his heart. So how, like, I understand, like, everything you said to Bowblax is 100% legit. And by the way, I did retweet one of your tweets or said, or took a picture of it and said, you are everywhere. You have no reason to take him in. He did you dirty. He teased you for months. You know, I didn't have a problem with it when he was doing it, but I would have a problem with it if he tried to come back to you and unblock you all of a sudden. I get why you think that's. How are you different than Bowblax?
I mean, at the end of the day, if like that's your perception of me, I'm not here to change it. I just
why not? Why not? That... Like why not? Why not? Don't give me a political line. Why are you different? Tell me from the heart.
I mean, I don't even know what to say, to be
do you see
honest.
Do you see me as just like we weren't real friends or something like that because it was on the internet and we never stood in front of each other and everybody's content?
No,
do you see it that way?
When we were friends, I genuinely did consider you a friend. To be honest, like even with like the recent stuff, I didn't have an issue with you personally.
You still blocked me. You still blocked me.
Well, I was just gonna say why I didn't really want to engage with this like community all that much, obviously. And then what upset me personally was when you used the fact that you had me as a friend on Discord to drag me into a call on Lolcal Live. That, and admittedly, it's a stupid thing.
Did you hold on a second? I'll give you. Did you block me before or after that? Be honest.
It was after.
Okay, fair enough. All right, fair enough. We were trying to. You know what? I have no problem with that. If that's true, I have no problem with that. You know why? We were trying to exploit you. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
So that
for
was
sure. All right, fair enough. All right, let that go. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to concede on that one. But it's just like,
you and me were cool. We still talked about like video games and shit like
that. Not since Keffels. We didn't talk about after that.
No, I remember we talked about the Polymega. That was one of the last conversations.
No, that's true. No. Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to lie. No, that's all right.
But yeah, we
no, because you know what my feeling was. But you know what my feeling was. It's not exactly good for you. My feeling was. Those guys, they're the ones that kept you in to begin with. So if you're going to them over, I told them you're no good years ago. That's how I felt. So I didn't have to, like, I forgave you. So why do I got to get mad at you now? You do shit to me. You did shit to me years ago and I'm over it. See, kind of the same way I feel about Bowblax now.
Yeah. But no, like,
if you block me for that, I get it. We were definitely trying to use you. For sure.
No, I think in hindsight, I think it was like a really stupid reason to block you. Honestly, it's just like I could have easily just like not responded to that call, and then afterwards talk to you like that was pretty fucked.
You could have called me during the and say I feel differently about things now. I'm not saying you got to tell your sexuality, but you can say like this is something I believe in. I'm a socialist. What the fuck ever? What do I care if you're a socialist?
I feel like Tipster trying to convince Tommy to change his mind would make it a non-apology. Am I interpreting this wrong? I don't know that Tommy's asking Tipster to change his mind on, I mean, maybe not on political stuff, but I guess, yeah, on the change his mind on how he's different from Bowblax. Yeah, I don't know. Just remember, like, these are people with years of history, right? Tipster had years of history with these people. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of hurt feelings. I think Tommy, had a lot of hurt feelings. And I think, I think Tommy probably was right. Like, Nick was probably pretty hurt by that. Because I remember when I was first brought into this, like, little circle of people. The people that we hung out with on stream were, usually it was, like, Nick, Bowblax, Edwin, Tipster, sometimes Augie. Like, these were people who, like, I don't know. I would see quite often, and they would all interact with each other quite often, So
look, you know me long enough. All I'm trying to do is make people laugh and get rewarded for it and get a donation. That's it. That's all I've ever done. And you know what? Yeah. I have not done it the easy way, and I have not done it by walking the line and doing the most trending topic thing. I did it the way I thought. I don't believe it anymore. Howard Stern did it. He did what he believed. That's the way I've always done it.
Yeah, ultimately, like, my thing is, like, obviously, like, when it comes to, like, our political views and stuff like that, like, we don't align and whatnot.
We used to. We used to. We used to
own the fact.
We used to.
No, I mean, I've always been pretty left-wing. It's obviously not as much as now.
But you were okay with
I just wasn't vocal about it. I didn't.
Well, you were okay. You were okay with Medicre's crowd at the time, at the time that they would.
Yeah, but okay, so I don't know that Tommy's right on this. Like, I know plenty of people who are left wing who are down with Medicare's crowd, Like, I know plenty of people who are left wing who are part of Medicare's audience. So I don't know that this is necessarily, like, you can have a very edgy sense of humor and still be pretty progressive, right?
The most right wing. You had no problem pandering to them at my expense. And you know what I was doing at the end of the day? I was sticking up for crowd who deserved it. And I'm glad I did. Even though I took a huge L, lost subs, the whole nine. Keemstar waiting to swoop in on me, saying I starved my kid. And I'm the one that got you noticed to begin with.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Like, I got to be honest with you. Look, if I did that to somebody, I'd have trouble sleeping at night. Not because it's like the worst thing in the world to do, but just because, like, I was cool with you. I don't get that. I don't understand. And that's why I say, like, it's almost the old Medicare. I don't think he feels this way anymore because I get the feeling that Cancer has changed his views on a few things. And I used the Ralph thing as evidence, the way he talked to Ralph and he didn't totally bury him when he could have. Like, do you really, like, I have trouble believing that you don't see everything as a means to an end. I want to, like, be proven wrong or something, or like sort of like what just happened with the blocking over the lockout thing. That's legit, right? Like, how do I know this isn't different now? How do I know how do I know you're not going to be ultra right wing next week?
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely. Well, like I said, like a lot of people saying this is like my return to the community. It's like, no, I'm not returning to the community. I'm still kind of doing my own thing. It's just a matter of, like, I'm just tired of, like, I don't see the value in continuing to have, like, a feud, like, with you guys. And I can acknowledge that I didn't perfectly handle the way that I left the community. Yeah, I kind of, like, I f***ed up, and I can own that. Like, that's my thing, is, like, I didn't come into this call to argue with you or try to, like...
Why, I'm not, look, I don't think I'm arguing with you. I'm asking questions.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm asking questions. Why did you resent us because of the way the community turned out? I mean, I didn't like it either. I was bitching about it in 2019. This is the year of the pedo. Remember that whole thing? Mm-hmm. Bitching about it then. That was a year we were good by then.
I mean, you and I had conversations about that.
I hated it. I hated it.
We missed the old days of drama when it was like
over
making
FIFA
fun of
or some
fighting
stupid
over
shit.
Like stupid or whatever, like girls photoshopping their like Instagram pictures and stuff. Like that's when it was fun.
All right, I'm looking at your
and it
stuff
wasn't
now. I'm
fun
looking
anymore.
at your stuff now. It's all political. So
Yeah.
do you really think you're the guy to be doing this though? Be honest. You're entitled.
I don't believe everything people I follow believe. I've learned to follow a wider range and find those people who help with my beliefs and those I just laugh with. Yeah. Again, just keep in mind, you know, remember, there's years of relationships here, you know? So, you know, emotions are going to be high, you know? Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do have Hassan Piker weighing in on, right? So I agree with you, Bored Kitty.
To do. I'm not saying you're not entitled to do it. You weren't the most politically astute person I ever met. I'm not saying I am, but I always thought I was a little better than you in this department, at least as far as just like knowledge, history, the whole nine. Might be because I'm older. Like, I don't know. I mean, you might have really strong feelings about this, but I know you weren't anti-Trump. I mean, you have every right to be anti-Trump. I'm not telling you not to be. But like, is this really you? I guess that's what I'm asking. Is this you? Is this really you?
I think it's him.
I think
I
so.
think it's really him.
Is it always you?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I've always been like left wing. I just never.
Yeah, but a lot of left wingers.
I remember like a lot of people, especially in like the commentary space, like their whole thing was like, do not talk about politics because like you're just gonna cut your audience in half. You're gonna alienate half your audience.
Which you did.
And so that's why I kind of like kept it to myself.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That was
yeah, to get along,
for, like,
with us who were seen as publicly right wing. I mean, it's like
no, it wasn't that. It was more from an audience perspective of like,
yeah, if you start anybody in commentary, like if you start talking about politics, it ends up making a bunch of people ass mad, right? Or they just get bored, right? Look at what happened with like H3. Like the dude was always kind of liberal. As soon as he actually was open about his political beliefs, people are like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" You know. So he was probably the first in the commentary community to befriend him, take him under his wing, help build his channel. Yeah.
You don't talk about that stuff because you're literally going to cut your audience in half. That's what like was always like nailed.
So why did you go so hard Keffels? That doesn't make any sense. So why did you go so hard on Keffels? So pro Keffels, who turned out to be a crook, by the way.
I mean, I'm not here to argue
it's a friend. You do things for friends that you shouldn't do, you know?
Is there anything like that?
I didn't ask you to. Well, you went hard for her. That's a fact. I didn't ask you to argue in her defense. You didn't rip anybody off. I'm well aware of that, but you did defend her and you went in with Keffels. It did feel like I'm jumping on a new bandwagon. I mean, honestly, Tipster, I'm going to tell you flat. I think you're apolitical. I think you always were. I don't think you're left. I don't think you're right. I think you're apolitical.
I don't know.
And I think this was, that's the
way
I feel.
That's the way you feel, and that's fine. But like, yeah, that's not right.
I never had these conversations. The only thing you ever got charged up about since I known you was, I remember this conversation. What was his name? Not Billy Mitchell, the other asshole, Todd Rogers, right? Because I remember having this conversation. Boy, I bet Billy's next, and you were like, he is next, and he was. Whether he did it or not, I don't want to get you sued, but he was. You know, so it's tough to believe that this is all coming from your heart. Like I haven't. Well, maybe because like, you're not that much younger than me. I haven't changed that much. I didn't change. The only thing I changed politically is when I went to Iraq. Shot from the point, bitch. I don't know, man. It's very difficult for me to believe that you're not.
I mean, that's fair. Like ultimately, like you're free to have whatever opinion about it or you want. But like no, like I just think my interests have changed, and so as a result of that, my content reflects it.
Well, am I going to see a video in 3 months that's like Jeremy adjacent? Because it's getting more views?
No,
because you're not
I don't
getting
think
views.
so.
That's what? Sorry, I didn't.
And that's Jeremy adjacent, you know.
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gordon, yeah. No.
Me and Jeremy are on the complete like.
Yeah, but there was a time when you weren't. There was a time when you weren't. And you by the way, you did go to work back in the day. One of the things I always liked about you is, and I don't think you're like this anymore either, you didn't give a shit why somebody lost their channel, whether it was left, right, or in between. You cared that they lost their channel. You cared about censorship, right? And that's not necessarily a left or right issue. You follow the line. Now, I think you'll be okay with a right-winger getting banned.
I think I have a bit more of a nuanced perspective on it where like I'm not like super on board with like deplatforming or whatever, but like if somebody's using their platform for things that cause like real world harm, then like
that's subjective. And that wasn't your
subjective.
You know, but that's not what you didn't care back in the day. Now you do. Real world harm is 100% subjective. Free speech is what it's about. That's what you were about. You were 100% about free speech. Something I always respected about you. So I don't know. Like here's my fear. I'm going to be just completely, totally honest with you. that Nick is going to, because Nick's picks at Bowblax right now. You're going to use this opportunity to come back, and hopefully everybody forgets.
I disagree with this. I don't
all the
think he's
other
right on
shit.
this one.
And you get your channel back in order, because like I guess she's not coming back. Keffels, you couldn't support. Well, you could, I suppose, but I mean, it's not the future. You know that. If Trump wins, actually, you're probably better off staying left. You're better off staying the opposite wing of whoever's in power. That's always the smart move, because I started to see a move towards the left in 2017. Shocking. You just did it before. You should have stayed on the right until Trump got elected. That would have been a smarter move.
Yeah, see, I don't think he was ever right wing.
I'm not in it for like a grift or anything like that. These are like views that I genuinely have.
Tommy sounds really hurt here. Yeah, no, I think he was really hurt. Yeah. I think it's just that he feels kind of like backstabbed, and I think other people definitely did too in commentary.
And so my content reflects those views.
I don't believe you.
And I can tell you don't believe mine. You don't have to. I'm not here to.
I'm not here to destroy you. I am totally here to understand. I think I've been really fair, because you've seen me over the years. You know my content, right? I usually would start screaming at somebody like you.
Yeah, I mean, like I told you, I was here to take my lumps, and that's what I'm here to do. You know.
Are you taking your lumps just to get back in?
No, I don't. I
don't think he's doing that.
I've made that really clear. Like, even
back in the day of subs to Tipster, because he was left-leaning, you could just tell by his coverage of politics. Yeah. Losing friends is hard, but at some point you gotta accept it and move on. I think it's extra hard, though, for Tommy, because, like somebody else said in the chat, Tommy was, like, one of the first people to take him under his wing, I guess. So I think it's just gonna be extra hard for Tommy, like, just keep in mind, like, he's somebody who speaks from the heart, right? And he's just he's like, yeah, I don't know. That's just it, a lot of what he says is going to be informed by that. So
in the few interactions we've had that I've had with Nick or whatever, like I can own that I up and I treated you guys poorly. Like I can 100% take accountability for that.
Well, what about that? What about those left-wing Nazi? What about those left-wing Nazi commies? Are they going to be okay with that? Because as far as they're concerned, we're killing Jews in the Holocaust. Are you going to be okay with that? Because I got to be honest with you, I don't think your side is all that forgiving. I think our side's a little more forgiving. I mean, when I say our side, I don't mean the right. I mean the comment or.
Yeah, we'll see, Glitterbell. So right now we're watching Tommy C and Tipster talk, and the reason it's significant is because, Tipster fell out with the commentary community a while back, and Tommy is one of the people I think who was most hurt by it. So Tommy, he, I guess, was one of the first people that, like, reached out and took Tipster under his wing and stuff, and so was super hurt when Tipster, I guess, like, called him alt-right adjacent, or implied that he was alt-right adjacent or whatever, and yeah. Tommy, please do not kill me in the Holocaust. Thank you. I don't think he will. He was showing me, actually, because he lives in Germany. There's like a whole like memorial near him or whatever.
Yeah, I forgave you when you did me dirty, and I was nothing but nice to you. Loved you, bro.
Yeah.
And I know we're not. When I say I loved you, I mean more content. Like we're not one of the best friends in the world. Even before that, I'm not trying to fake this shit, but I loved you. I loved it. And then I sucked up my pride, and I just. You should apologize. You really should have apologized to me over emails, Chung. I'm a decent father. I'm not the best in the world, but I didn't let my kid starve. My wife called me up.
Oh yeah. Okay. This is a part that I think really hurt him too. Yeah. This part in particular, I think really hurt Tommy.
And said the babysitter, who, by the way, called every day at that point and said my son was sick, to the point where, like, if he just sniffled. And she called me, and she was closer walking distance than I was. Said, well, she's choking because you wanted me to walk over there. And I didn't want to do it because it was my day off. It was my day to stream with Dave. So I told her, you go pick him up. Oh, by the way, he's 8 now. He didn't die.
Yeah.
So I'm not a bad dad. I could, you know what? I'm not the best, but I'm not a bad dad. And you were okay to cash on that.
Here's what I'll say, Tom.
Yeah, calling somebody a bad parent is also really going to get to them.
I was way out of line for that, and I thought I apologized to you for that.
No, you apologized to Nick. You never apologized to me.
But I'm going to do it now, and I mean it. I'm sorry. I should have never did that to you. I knew you were a good father to your kids, and I should have never done that to you. And I genuinely am sorry for that.
I appreciate it. I'll take it.
I said, I can own that I treated you guys bad, and the way that I left, even though I don't regret leaving. I
get leaving. I get leaving. If my soccer thing took off, I'm gone. I'm doing this once a week because the pedo drives me crazy. It drives me nuts. It's like, what did I get in this for? And I'm talking about age of consent shit every week. I get that. 100%. 100% I get where you're coming from there. But yet it's over to get in with her. And she's a rotten person. I never did you that dirty. Yeah, I may have made fun of you. But I mean, everybody gets it in the ass. Like, Nick's fat. You're fat. I'm fat. Everybody's getting goofed on. You can't get mad at us for that. Everybody's getting in the ass at all times. And here's the upside. We get paid. I don't get that, man. I don't get that. And you liked me because the reason you watched me is because I punched up all the time, no matter what it cost me.
Yeah.
I stuck up for you. I forgave you without the apology, and I still stuck. Man, so you're right, chat. Some of this is beer, but I mean every word of it. You're right. I probably would have blown him up and made fun of him or something. But I mean everything. I don't understand. Bowblax, I get it to some extent because I think is like if you watch Open Folders, which by the way you were involved with, by the way. Like I get because you can see the pattern. The pattern is the same. And Nick said it's not the same. He's not the same guy he was. That's true. He's just Open Folders, and whatever is going on in his life is like an overdrive. I don't know what it is. I'm not a doctor. Well, I don't know. I don't want to just yell at you. I want to enjoy myself. It's my birthday, bro. What's up?
Can I ask?
Sure. No, sure, Jeannie. Go ahead. By the way, it's my Tips. This is my new producer. She's doing a great job. Matt kind of moved on. I don't know if you know that, Tips.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Matt moved on. Here you go. Here's Jeannie. Go ahead. Ask him.
Yeah. So first question.
It's not about ending a friendship. It's the way that it was ended, I think. Like, calling somebody a bad parent will really with them. Calling people alt-right adjacent when they're not will with them. You know, yeah, there's a way that, like, I understand where Tipster's coming from, where he thinks, okay, maybe this audience isn't for me, right? But there's a way to be like, okay, maybe this audience isn't for me. Maybe this audience will never like me. But also, I'm not going to like shit on the people that are, you know, that were trying to help me out from the beginning, you know? Yeah, I think it's partly that, right? It could have ended without all of this conflict, right? So,
can you lay out directly how Bowblax backstabbed you?
I wouldn't use the term backstab. My thing that I was communicating in that email was that
commentary was, I don't know, Tipster was a very integral part of that community. So I mean, you know, they had like so many Tipster memes, like all these different people with Tipster Twitter accounts, you know? So yeah, there's a way to be like, yeah, this audience is never gonna be for me, and I'm not feeling this audience anymore, but maybe not like burn every bridge on the way out, you know? Hello, I'm in because Augie blue screened his PC during streaming just now. Oh, okay. Well, hello, welcome.
Nick had mentioned on one of his streams that Bowblax did like this double speak mixed signals thing where he would like tell someone that he was like cool with them or whatever, but then he would like turn around and say something different to other people. And the examples that I gave, I actually tweeted them out. Is first of all, there was like a time he DM'd me. He's like, by the way, if anybody ever reaches out to you and tells you like I'm backstabbing you by like telling you that like are talking about you in private conversations or on streams, I just want you to know I'm just joking. Okay. And so it's like it was really weird, especially considering like the bully streams. There were things at that time he claimed he was joking about, but all of a sudden like it was
I gotta be honest, I agree 100% with Tipster on this one. It was all he was bullying you for money. And by the way, I would have bullied Free for money if I thought of it first.
Yeah, and then the other thing was the stream that I did with him and Keffels. We all came out of that call thinking that that was like a positive conversation that ended well in the end of it. And then the next morning, like I woke up and everybody was pissed at me about that, like how I backstabbed Bowblax or whatever. And I'm like, holy, like did I fuck up? So I DM Bowblax and I asked him like, hey bro, like I thought we had a good conversation, but if you like are upset about that conversation, like I'm genuinely sorry, right? And he's like, no, we're good. I thought that was a good conversation. Everything's cool now, right?
So now you know how
I'm like,
you know what? I believe every word you're saying. I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry, and you can finish. I'm going to let you finish 100%. That's how I feel about you.
Yeah. No, like I said, I own it. I was a dick.
I hope so.
There's no way. There's no other way to
Like,
put it.
look,
I was
with the
a fucking
Keffel
dick.
shit, you literally did nothing to me. Nothing to me with Keffels. Nothing. And I was just like, that guy, he took advantage of me. I'm going to take advantage of him. Because, you know, you literally had to, all you had to do, because, I mean, we've had a million meetings with you over the years, you know, and say, look, I want to do this. This is important to me. And I want to leave a commentary. I would appreciate if you guys let me be, because this is going to be a lot of shit I'm going to say. It's going to be
That's
funny.
what I should.
And I think Nick would have respected it, because he's, I mean, we literally got to fight over the trans.
Yeah.
It's all you had to do.
Yeah.
Just like Bowblax. Like, you know, me and Nick, the biggest bastards on the planet. The total man, right-wing Nazis. And what happened when I was in Gran Canaria? I'm worried about Bowblax. I'm worried about the transition. I'm worried about his well-being. If you would have told us about your sexuality, we would have respected that too. I guarantee it. Because if I would have came out with that, or Nick would have came out, my own audience would have turned on me. Because it would have been a total fake. I've always presented myself as a libertine. Do what you want, as long as it doesn't affect anybody else. And if I'd have came out and thrown you out, or exposed you, or laughed at you for that, even though you didn't never maybe say Z's or anything like that, I would have been the bastard. I would have been in the wrong. And deservedly so. But I mean, I don't get why you didn't do this. Like, I don't.
Yeah, Board Kitty, I agree with you. I think Tipster deserves some credit here for letting Tommy vent and get his feelings out. Yeah, I think so.
I just don't get it. I don't understand, and I don't know if you're telling me the truth. And I'm not being like unreasonable. I think I've been more reasonable with you, and I've not always been reasonable with callers. Yes, that who's the guy that he transitioned to? Mumpky Jones's friend, and what's his name? Who's that guy I yelled at? It was on the second channel. Digibro, yeah. I wasn't exactly nice to Digibro either. I didn't give a shit. But I mean, like, your own crew, that's what I don't get. Like, do you remember me sticking up for you for the whole thing that started this whole thing? Like, that's another thing I really want to ask you. When the thing came up to the lolly stuff, all right? You remember I put my ass in the line and I stuck up for you, right? During that.
And I appreciated it.
And I know you used some of my stuff and stuff like that because, you know, but you know what it is? Here's what I think happened. I think we're literally the same thing happened to you at Bowblax. You got sick of us optics checking you, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Be honest. Be honest. You got sick of us because you realized, just like, fuck, more than you think. Because we used to go to you and tell, it's like, this is the good narrative, and you would do it every time, right up until then.
Is that an optics check?
Kind of. Basically, regurgitate.
I mean,
you always regurgitated what we suggested to you, and it wasn't when we weren't doing it. We weren't doing it to f you over. We weren't doing it to f you over.
Like, when I think of optics check, I think of like if I say something and you guys kind of like check me on it, like this is like a stupid.
All right, yeah. All right, I don't think that literally happened, but I mean, we would tell you like this is probably the way to go, and it was always It was pre-optics check. If we want to look.
It's possible that someone just doesn't get along with an old friend group anymore. Well, yeah, that's possible. That's absolutely possible, and it happens all the time, but you generally don't, like, burn people on the way out, right? So
look at it that way, you know?
But, you know, again, like, I think Tipster is at least, like, letting Tommy vent here, which is, you know, I think is good for Tommy, you know, so.
Okay,
because I always felt like when the whole thing happened, because I wasn't a part of it, and like I said, I'll say it again, you do shit to me, and the whole Capitals thing, that you just started, it feels like Bowblax, like you just started to resent them after a while. You know, I'm grateful that I've been optics checked. By the way, I got optics checked by Nick with Dr. Disrespect. That could have been career ending had he not done it. And I appreciate it. I don't think to myself, oh, I wish I would have been able to say my narrative because that was my thoughts and my feelings. And why do I have to listen to Nick? No, I was like, thank you. I didn't think of it that way. Like, why weren't you that way? Why weren't you grateful? I don't understand. Like all you saw me lose sub for years, saw me fight the uphill battle. You got your plaques and then you resented the people that got you there? I don't get that. And I don't care if I ever get a thing. But I mean, I watched all you guys grow, get that, and I was always like rooting you on. Bowblax, you, Illuminati, name the Willie, even on the good side. Tom, I never ever got jealous. Ever. What the is wrong with you? You could have been friends with her. I wouldn't give a shit. I don't care about her.
No, you didn't.
But she wanted a piece of Nick's ass, didn't she? Be honest.
I mean, if she did, I didn't know.
Oh, come on, man.
I knew that she didn't like Nick, but I don't know if she was like.
You don't think
gunning
if
for
she
him
saw the
specifically.
opportunity, like you saw the opportunity with me and the shit that I said on Breakfast and Beer with my son, you don't think she would have swooped in? Let's be honest. Come on.
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
You want to throw her on the bus, do you? She's gone. She didn't care about you. She never cared about you. You're a means to a fans, just like all her fans. I think that's what drives me crazy about you the most. Because Bowblax, Augie, remember, Augie took my side, or your side over mine during, even prior to open folders. And then Nick just took you in, even though he thought you were an idiot. I don't know, man. This is becoming a bigger lecture than I want it to be.
Can I ask another question?
Sure, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, what's your favorite Resident Evil game?
Resident Evil 2. I think pretty much everybody knows that, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really watch
Look.
it. Honestly, I would have thought it would have been 8 because of the big titty goth mommy, but
I mean, big titty goth mommies are pretty nice. You know, I'll say that.
yeah.
That's another thing. I
Yeah,
stuck
I
up for you.
Heisenberg
I
girly,
stuck
though.
up for you when you were flirting with other chicks. And everybody's all these right-wing idiots. And by the way, I'll stick up for that. We're like, oh, you're not loyal to your wife. And like, I'm married. And my wife doesn't care. Like, look, I've said stuff to Ginny live, not privately. I want to make sure. Seth, who's here now, and I've done the whole sex Howard Stern thing. Everybody knows it's jokes. Everybody knows it's good. And I always stuck up for you. Always. Everybody calls you a degenerate and you didn't love your wife and all that. And I always, with Dojangles, everybody, I stuck up for you.
Yeah, you did. I appreciated it.
Well, I'm not going to blame you for I was going to bring up I get the blocking thing. I get that. I didn't give a shit. At that time, I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit about it.
It was a stupid.
Yeah, but I didn't give a shit.
I could have had a conversation.
I would have used you on that one. I'll be honest with you. I don't give a shit. But I would have never done that if you just say, like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of this. Everybody's a pedophile. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting involved in something that I believe in. This whole trans rights. And I do think it's, by the way, deal with it. But I could have respected it. Maybe it's what you're passionate about. I could have totally respected that. Honestly, there's nothing in my history, nothing that would say otherwise.
Yeah.
You pissed away a good friend. I just want to let you know that. And you know what? Nick was a good friend to you too. You know what? Augie loved you. Maybe you're right on Bowblax, but you just remember when I bitched about Bowblax, nobody listened to me. You pissed away some good friends. And you know what? Maybe that's punishment enough. I don't hate you.
I can 100% own that like I should not have treated you guys the way that
I have to hop out. Great stream, Stardust. Hey, thank you, Board Kitty. Thanks for joining.
I'm sorry.
All right, bud. Well, we'll leave it at that. All right. You took your lumps. Is there anything you want to talk about? I don't want to seem like but I really had to get out of my chest.
I mainly came in just to talk about like the vault thing and how like
Spaggle.
I felt genuinely bad for that when that happened.
The vault thing, it wasn't even your fault. That was Vault's fault and my fault for being an asshole. You know what? Yeah. Here's the thing. Two things can be true at the same time. I'm a jerk off. I treat my friends like and look, what you post is your problem. You know, I was never going to criticize you for that. You know, if you want to take the chance and criticize zombie douchebag. By the way, that's kind of proof right there that you were on our team on that one because she was a left-wing loon. Would you criticize her now?
I think that a lot of the ways that she handled things were like insanely over the top. So like, yeah, I actually stand by some of the criticisms I gave. I
got. Stop worrying about. Well, maybe it isn't the right advice. Here's the thing: it's the wrong advice if you want to grow. It's the right advice if you want to be respected. Talk about what you know about. Talk about what you believe in. I think that's where you went astray at the end of the day. I think that somewhere along the line that stopped. Because look, the gaming thing, we're all passionate about it. We're all into it, man. You know, we're all into this YouTube thing. You know, it's fed my family 4 years now, and I'm proud of it. I don't give a shit. Maybe I'm a loser, but you know what? I'm not that bad. I just bought a house.
Do you think Tipster should tattoo his face to fix this? No, I think Tipster, unpopular opinion, I think Tipster joined this stream and he let Tommy vent what he needed to vent. And I think, he took his lumps, right? So what can I say,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think you're a loser for this. Like you're doing something you love for a living, and like you said, you bought a house, you feed your family off of it. Like,
yeah, well, I don't see my internet friends. I don't see my internet friends as future content. If they want to make themselves future on it, and I don't think I've ever used anybody for content that didn't me to begin with. I don't think I've ever done that, and I've taken L's for guys like Kraut that were in some cases in the wrong, but I stuck with them because I didn't want to be that guy that just jumped on it because the train was there. And maybe that's what you should do in the future, whatever.
Well,
So,
in any case, I don't want to, derail your birthday stream any further, but
I'm glad we had this talk. I gotta be honest, I feel good. I'm glad we had this talk. All right.
okay. I just want to end it by saying that, I can own up to my mistakes, that I didn't handle my departure in the best way, and I genuinely apologize for that. And I don't expect forgiveness.
And I don't care about that. I would have helped you if you came to me, even with the sexuality thing. I would have never exposed you for that. Ever.
Oh, no.
Do you believe that? I guess I need to hear that.
No, I absolutely, no. Because I seen your comments on it at the time. You thought it was, really up that got outed.
I didn't like it.
And that was
I've never outed anybody sexually. I've never outed anybody sexually. Ever. And by the way, here's the funny part. I don't believe in your sexuality. I think it's complete. You're gay or straight. That's the way I feel. Accept it or don't accept it. But I never, even though I don't believe in that, I still respected you enough to think that was.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not a right wing wacko. Maybe I'm a regular dude.
I don't want to derail the stream, but I have a question for Tipster.
No, let him go. He's taken enough from me. Let him go. No, I'm sorry.
No, I want to ask him a question.
He can ask me.
One question. I'm going to let him go because I've beaten him for like an hour.
He can ask it, and if I don't want to answer it, I just want to answer it.
All right, fine.
So, I just want to know you because you said you want to build up, like you want me to unblock you and whatever. So, answer me this question and I'll unblock you. During the Chris Tyson thing, you said that the drawing that Chris Tyson got was Bella Delphine. Could you explain that? How is that drawing of a child Bella Delphine-esque?
I'm not interested in relitigating all that.
I guess that's a no.
Here's what I'll say about that is that the initial defenses of Chris Tyson were based on the fact that they were facing legitimate transphobia. But as more information came out about Chris Tyson, there's no defense there. They've done absolutely ridiculous stuff that they should not have been doing, and there's no defending them.
Tipster's not trans. He's just pansexual. So
I can tell you, as somebody who's very much involved in queer communities, nobody's defending Chris Tyson now.
Yeah, there is.
They made their bed and now they're sleeping in it.
No, so is Chris Tyson. No.
No one is defending Chris Tyson.
Not everybody's a transphobe, Tipster. It's the truth. Not everybody on the right is transphobe. You know what? I think this might get you up, but not demand is the wrong word. I want you to hear that everybody's either libertine or on the right isn't a transphobe. That's what I want to hear. Everybody that's on the right. This is I know if you're really sorry. I want you to tell me that everybody that's on the right or libertine.
Yeah, I don't think Tipster believed that everybody on the right is a transphobe, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think Tommy's taking this personally.
Libertarian is not a transphobe in every case. That's all I want to hear out of your mouth. And
I've never believed that everybody.
I want you. I don't
believe that.
I just want to hear you say it.
Well, I'll tell you right now. No, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that everybody that's on the right, even Christians or far right Christians, are transphobes or libertarians. You don't believe that?
No, not everybody. No.
Okay. All right. Fine. I'm good. I'm not gonna. Yeah, you took a beating. It's why because I heard on the stream where you're like, this isn't gonna be an easy conversation for you. It's no, you took it like a man. I whatever. If I'm allowed to say that.
I have no problem admitting that I've made mistakes in the past. I don't necessarily agree with everything, but I do own the fact that I've made some really stupid decisions, and I think you guys have every right to hate my guts.
All right, fair enough. You're done. You've done your penance. For me, you've done your penance.
For what it's worth, Tommy, when we were friends, I always appreciated you as a friend, and I do acknowledge that I fucked that up. And I'm sorry.
All right. Well, here's what I'll say. I wish you the best, and I hope things in your YouTube career, and if they don't, I hope you enjoy the whole gaming YouTube sphere. Whatever you want to do, and I wish the best for you. I really do. It's simple. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to have to, I don't know if we're going drinking next week, but, I mean that. I mean it almost the same way I mean for Bowblax. I hope things get better for him, too. I do. I know you guys. I mean, I don't want you to die or anything, for Christ's sakes. All right, I'm glad you said that because I know by saying that you put yourself at great risk for the more radical elements of the left, and that's what I wanted to hear, and I'm good. So penance done. You're good with me. We are officially good. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Happy
believe
birthday.
you. I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if I believe
That's-
you, but we're good. All right. Is that fair?
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Fair enough?
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Much love to you. And
Thank
I
you for
wish
the
nothing
donation.
but the best.
All right. Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that wasn't terrible, right? That wasn't terrible. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? He owned up, right? So, owned up. Okay. I think I'm going to end stream here. Okay. I usually don't stream on Mondays anyways. So, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like the stream. Please consider subscribing, super chatting, becoming a member. And I'll try to get some more videos out and try to plan the next IRL stream. So, I think that might be a new area that I kind of dive into, IRL streaming.